Hi, I'm Virna DePaul, best-selling author and contributor to the HEA blog at usatoday.com. Today I'm interviewing author Sarah Anderson. Sarah, your first book, A Man of His Word, came out in 2011. Since then, despite having an active little boy and day job, you've written the follow-up books, A Man of Privilege and A Man of Distinction, which will be out in July and September 2012. And The Rancher's Valentine will be out in February 2013. I take it you don't sleep very much, do you?
Some days it doesn't seem like it, but I do actually write obnoxiously fast. It takes me about 3 to 5 months to take a manuscript from idea to finish. That doesn't really matter. If I write it faster, that usually means there needs to be more rewriting on my end. So it's about 3 to 5 months, and several of these books, especially some of the ones coming later in 2013, have already been written. So I'm kind of working off of a backlog. I don't want anyone to throw things at me for thinking that I'm churning them out faster than I can see straight.
So when aspiring authors hear not to worry if one manuscript gets rejected, just put it aside and go on to the next one, because people might want those manuscripts later on. It sounds like that's really true.
It is true. The book that's coming out through Samhain in January is called Mystic Cowboy, and I actually wrote that one before I wrote A Man of His Word. It just took a little longer to find the home where it belonged, and I'm really excited about it.
You've said it took a caffeine-fueled car trip with your 92-year-old grandmother and 2-year-old son in July of 2007 to awaken your muse. Can you tell us what you meant by that?
Well, we were on a road trip, and as anyone who has traveled with the extreme elderly or very, very young knows, you do try to do the driving around nap time. And so we had driven down to a place in southwest Missouri called Lake of the Ozarks, and we needed to drive home. And my son had played the whole weekend in sand and surf and had a great time, and my grandmother had done a great job, but I wanted them to sleep, and I needed to stay awake. So I'd had a lot of caffeine and had actual Mountain Dew, and then I didn't even turn on the radio. When everybody's eyes closed, I just wanted silence in the car, and I had to do something to stay awake. So I started imagining these two people, and they were standing in the rain, and they were having an argument, and then suddenly they were kissing, and I thought, what's going on? I have ideas like this all the time, but usually they kind of float away on my subconscious. These people stuck. So a week later, they're still bugging me, and I'm trying to figure them out, and finally, I just decided to write them down to get them out of my head because they wouldn't shut up. And that turned into really what is a terrible 520-page novel. It was atrocious in so many ways, but that was the novel that I learned how to write a novel on. It actually took me 3 novels to really figure out what I was doing. So sometimes you do need to move on from that first book. You can love it with all of your heart, but you need to keep writing. One book is not going to be a career. You need to keep writing and find your niche.
That's wonderful advice. In addition to writing for Silhouette Desire, you write for Samhain. As you mentioned, you have a book coming out in January. And how are your Samhain books different from your Desires?
The main difference is in the hero at this point. I mean, the Samhain is, I think it's more like 85,000 words, and the Desires are 55,000 words. So the Desires are a significantly more compact. I don't want to say smaller, more compact book. But the main difference is in the heroes. Before I started writing for Desire, I wrote, I write cowboys and Indians and on the reservation, and Indians on the reservation are not the most economically advantaged group of people. And so my heroes tended to be very noble and very poor. And when you're writing for Desire, you're writing wealthy, powerful heroes who have a lot of money. So for me, that was a big change to go from writing the hero of Mystic Cowboy, a medicine man named Rebel Runs Fast. He actually lives in a tent down by the river. It's a much nicer sounding thing in the book than the Chris Farley old Saturday Night Live gig, but he lives in a tent down by the river, and you could never do that in a Desire. He would need to own a mansion and a beach house and a summer house.
Your brand is contemporary westerns with a kick. What's the allure of cowboys?
Oh, what's not to love about cowboys? I mean, they're old school men who work with their hands. They're out in the sun. They've got hard-earned muscles, not, they don't manscape. They might shave their beards, but they're not overtly concerned. They are what they are. You get what you get, and it's an upfront, open and shut case. They'll hold the door for you. They'll saddle your horse for you. I mean, they make a living a very old-fashioned way. And so there's an appeal to going back to that, where, you know, men were men and women were women, and there wasn't a whole lot of crossover. So even though my cowboys are contemporary, they still do have those, you know, hints of that past, that honorable male man on a horse, usually without a shirt, if I can help it.
That's a good argument for cowboys. In your second book, you created a heroine who is a former junkie and prostitute and paired her with a prosecutor lawyer. Do you like to take risks with your writing? And how does that question apply in real life?
Well, I'll start with the second part first. In real life, I'm boring. I'm exceedingly boring. I go to work, I pick up my kid, sometimes I make dinner, but I avoid it if possible. And then I usually spend the rest of the evening in a chair having conversations with imaginary people. So I've only been on a motorcycle once in my life, but yet my 2013 books all feature motorcycles. So I'm actually the thrilling life of an author is doing laundry while trying to write a sex scene. That's out there for me. The characters are, you know, that's where my imagination goes. I would never live these lives in real life, but I have had many other authors tell me that having a former hooker as a heroine in a desire novel is perhaps a little bit out there. And how did I get away with that? And the answer is, I'm not sure, but it worked.
You're actually making some beautiful necklaces to go along with some giveaways for your books. Can you tell us about that?
I have one to show.
Beautiful.
Well, here's the story. We had a small craft store named Ben Franklin's. I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Franklin's, but ours went out of business locally. And I went in when it was 80% off, and they had all of these beads and these blank pendants. And I kind of was looking at them, and I thought, I bet I could put a book cover in those. And so I watched some videos online. I had a lot of beadworking supplies. So this is the pendant for A Man of Privilege. I have pendants for my other books as well. And so I did that on Father's Day. I made 11 necklaces, I believe. So what I'm going to be doing is, for every person who comments on a blog, every blog has an opportunity to win a free book. But then once a week, all of those entries from all of the blogs, I'll be drawing and posting the name on my blog, the Authorial Mom at blogspot.com. And someone will get custom, handmade, totally unique, never before seen book jewelry.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Where can readers find out what blog sites you're going to be at for this giveaway?
Oh, so many places, everywhere. No, I have the complete total list on my website at www.sarahanderson.com.
Okay.
There's a box right on the first page that's click here for the summer blog tour. I will be posting the updates on my own blog at Authorial Moms every week. Here's where I'll be this week, and here's where I was. And I'll also have the entire list on the Harlequin Desire authors on June 25th, I believe. That entire list will be there, kicking off the official start of the blog tour. And of course, I'll be posting it on Twitter and Facebook and any place else I can think of.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely be commenting for a chance to win. What project are you currently working on?
Right now, I'm starting the second, we don't have an official title for it, so I'm calling it the Bolton Biker Boys. It's the second book of a 3-book series that'll be out later in 2013. And it's instead of cowboys and Indians, it's bikers and Indians. Sturgis with the Harley Rally is a very big thing in South Dakota. And so this is more centered around that culture. And in the Native American cultures, they frequently call motorcycles two-wheeled war ponies. So there is some crossover. And so instead of cowboys and Indians, it's going to be bikers and Indians. So I'm in the middle of writing a biker story for Desire. And again, I have authors going, how do you get away with that? It happens. I don't know.
So this is a wealthy biker, I take it.
Oh yes, they own their own company. They're well managed, and they're getting a reality show, so they have fame and fortune coming in.
Sounds great.